Thank you for joining us on Public Square today. Dawn, I wanted to start with you. You're a successful entrepreneur now, but you overcame a lot of challenges. What was the moment that drove you to get out and make your own way?
I went very young into teen violence with my first relationship, and it went on there for 4 more relationships. Every time gradually getting a little bit worse. Like I tell everybody, I had to go to a bigger monster than the one before to protect me from the previous. My first relationship was when I was just a teen. I was just 18. And in my 4th final relationship, at that point I had been hospitalized and was suffering from grand mal focal point seizures from a head injury. And really just had to make that decision that I wanted to live. And I didn't want to live this way.
Did you have financial resources that you could, I mean, that's often what keeps women from getting away.
I was lucky in the fact that I did have some support from my family, at least a little bit financially. Unfortunately, it wasn't a support system with a family where we could go to them, where we could, find safety, things like that. That wasn't a part of it. I was on financial assistance, and when you don't control your money and you're just trying to think of where you can go, by all means, it's a factor that comes into survival every day, especially for the money that you get into your hand is now taken by this person because they know that's a way for you to start thinking about getting away.
How did you get to a point where you could build up enough resources to be on your own and then start thinking about, I could own my own business? That's a big jump.
I always had this survivor kind of attitude about me. I started to do some things on my own, starting to figure out a budget, when I could tuck some money away, what I could do, what would be my next step. I actually, in order to get myself away, put my partner in prison. And I got out of the situation when I was 28 years old, but up until a few years ago, it literally took that amount of time just to make sense of what my life had been, the damage that was done. One thing that I tell women all the time is, I am broken. I have been broken into many pieces, and it's about figuring out how to pull those pieces back together and finding beauty in your own cracks. And it took me a long time to get to that place. And then this beautiful thing happens where then this second question comes in of when I decided to live, but the second question is, how do I live? I think at that point I was on such a high of being a survivor, of becoming so independent, that I think owning a business was the only choice that was left.
And in your business, you do tattoo removal, but you also do gratis services for women who want to get rid of some physical effects of past relationships or being in prison.
Right,
so you're
absolutely.
helping them that way.
And it's an awesome transition to watch take place. As the tattoo is removed, you start to see this person take back their identity and start to gain control of who they are.
So you do that's for free?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not imagine charging them for that.
Gail, I saw you nodding your head a lot through this whole story, and you know, if you don't mind me saying, you had a typical middle class life, house in the suburbs, corporate job in sales, and it all kind of fell apart through a very traumatic divorce. You pretty much hit bottom. Can you talk about that and how you came back?
Yeah, went through a horrible divorce experience. And pretty quickly after that, I went to see a therapist. And the therapist told me to get over it. And I degenerated over a period of time to a significant amount of alcohol and drug abuse, and kind of realized that things needed to change when I found myself pinned to the floor in a restaurant with the fellow I was dating at the time, with his hands around my throat. And I said, let's give therapy another try and find a group. So I got into individual counseling as well as a group. And I noticed that after the sessions, no one got up to leave. These were all women that were coming out of an incarceration situation. They were coming out of rehab, and they didn't have anywhere to go. They didn't have custody of their kids. They didn't have jobs, and really didn't have any way to put it back together. I was doing some part-time landscaping work at the time, and it was starting to give me a sense of empowerment just because I had total control over my schedule, where I was going to be, what day, how much I was going to make, and that felt fantastic. It kind of dawned on me, so I could provide jobs to some of these other individuals that were in recovery and coming out of jail and offer them an opportunity. I had no experience in business. I had no experience in managing money. I started out with Wes, and I literally walked into their office in Rio Rancho and said, I think I might want to start a business. What do you got?
What does life feel like now versus?
It feels like I own it.
Beverly, in your case, you didn't start a business, but you bought a home. You used an
Right.
individual development account,
Right.
which is a program that you save money and an organization matches it. What was home ownership that did it for you?
Yeah, I think growing up as a kid, my dad has always taught us, you have to have your own home and don't throw your money away on renting a home. And then I came through these obstacles where I went through domestic violence. I went through a bad divorce. And then I was fine. My dad helped me purchase a home back then. And then after that, that's when I got ill. I had to learn walk, talk, everything all over again. I had my kids ending up with an alcoholic. My kids and I had to leave a home that I had put money in. Lost everything, and I thought I am never going to have a home again, but as long as I'm out of the situation, I'll be okay. I was only 42. I knew I had to work.
You had a disability.
I was
and
on
so you went to the
disability,
Department
yeah.
of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Right, and it was Mike Lacombe there who told me, we have this. You have the opportunity to save money and buy a home. I go, tell me about it. Tell me about it. And I did it, and I had something, and I was in control of it. I did it myself. I didn't need my dad or any other man to do it for me. I did it myself.
What does that feel like?
It's empowering. It gives me confidence. It gives me a lot of confidence, and I see that it's given my kids confidence in me too.
What does that mean now you're in your own house and you're stable with your kids?
Well, it just feels so different just to come in here and sit in my sofa or lay on my chair, and it's mine. It's truly mine. It's like these arms that just come around you and hold you, and it's my Lord. It's my Lord that's brought this all to me, and I feel that. I feel that when I'm in my home.
And talk about your kids. That you mentioned it's had an impact on your kids.
I ended up going to a parent-teacher conference meeting that I requested. We walked out of there, and my son goes, Mom, my teachers thought you were smart or educated. And I go, what? He goes, you sounded smart. And I like looked at him, and I was like, I go, Ross, I am educated. And I kind of, at first I felt bad, but then I thought, you know what? He finally sees me strong. He's only saw me as very, very vulnerable. He saw me as a strong woman, and that's awesome. I mean, that is so awesome. I don't want them to think that they have to take care of me. I'm here to take care of them. I think I'm a good example.
Oh, go ahead, Dawn.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I recently purchased a home. For us, home was a place where violence took place. It was a place where we were not safe, where ugly things happened behind closed doors. And so to be able to achieve that, home is a very, very sacred place for us. It's where things now take place that, that aren't so scary anymore. And it is an amazing feeling that it's yours. When you've actually survived being killed, everything else is so easy.
There was a period of time where I couldn't take care of myself, and I relied on family members and friends to literally pay my bills for me. And I have people working for me, and they're relying on me now, and I help them take care of their families and their obligations. And that doesn't just feel good, that is exciting. I can't believe that I'm able to do that.
You should. I wanted to talk to you because you have a very different background. Your family was adamant you get an education and not go in the kitchen. But you found your own bliss, and you actually have now own restaurants, Ayurvedic restaurants. Why?
What made me follow the passion is the passion to heal. I wanted to be a doctor. My mom wanted me to be a CPA. She had finished her university education and she was teaching school at middle school level. When she married my father, it is traditional in the Indian community that a woman stays at home and has babies. So it was the bitterness, I think, from that action that she was denied her career at that point, that she wanted to make sure that her daughters, her girls, were going to be on the path to career fulfillment and more. When we went to register at the university, and I get in the line for medical school, and the line is really, really long, and she said, gosh, we're gonna be here all day. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and Woolworths is gonna be closing by 5 o'clock. Can you get into that line? Look at that line for the accountants. It is so short. It's so short. We'll be done. We'll be out of here, and I could still get to Woolworths. There aren't any women in that line, and that is where you will have the opportunity to make a difference. You'll be first in making a difference in commerce and industry. So,
So she really badgered you into that line.
so she literally got me by the arm and
badgering
said,
me.
okay, get in that line, we've got to go, we've got to go. And that's how I ended up becoming a CPA. So I really wanted to be, my personal mission statement is no colon left behind. It has always,
So you're healing with food.
yes, it has always fascinated me that we eat so much, that we eat 3 meals a day, and what happens to this food? Where does it go? What does it do? And how does it affect what we do every day and what we become? So when I got to a point where I felt I was not making a difference to the planet, making a difference in my community, in my society, I felt that I could go back and do something like cook for people so that I can heal, because I really believe that food is medicine and medicine is food.
We're talking basically about asset building, whether it's owning a house, whether it's following your dream, or getting away from a place where you have no power. So why, for instance, is entrepreneurship something, Lynn and Agnes, that it's ideally suited perhaps, not to all women, but maybe it's a good fit for women? Why is that such a good path?
I think for women, and we have, of course, about 50% of our clients are women entrepreneurs. It is a way for them to gain that independence, and women are so creative and want to fulfill themselves in so many exciting ways. Or it is a chance for escape, and some of the things that Gail and Dawn and Beverly have been talking about. We provide a lot of loans for women who have been in battered women's shelter, and they're going off to work, but just a little bit of supplemental income, like a woman in Las Cruces who left a battered women's shelter and took out a $368 loan so that she could have a Mary Kay business. And that provides her that little bit of income that will support her children and get them on the right track. And we know with entrepreneurship and being your own boss and having that independence and seeing our own clients that many of them from one loan to the next will increase their household income. 64% of our clients have increased their household income, which is unheard of in the United States. We have a decrease in our household income overall. And their credit scores increase, which is again what we all work for in terms of our asset building. When your credit score increases, you have a better opportunity to own your own house and to be able to create a life for yourself and your families that supports them in a way that has you feel empowered and able to do that.
Could it be better than a regular job, 9 to 5?
Absolutely. I think women are well suited to entrepreneurship. I mean, think about it. When you own your own business, you're kind of in charge of everything. You've got to juggle lots of balls. And women have been doing this for centuries. I mean, we really do. I mean, they say there's no multitasking, but we all know different. And so I think in a lot of respects, women are very well suited. You certainly have to have the creative aspect if you've got your own business or want to start a business. You've got to have the passion and the determination and the commitment. But here in New Mexico, for many women, we say that self-employment is oftentimes the alternative to a minimum wage job for the rest of your life. So for many women in New Mexico, self-employment really is, I think, a very good path to real financial independence.
What are some of the biggest barriers towards women, even if they can't become entrepreneurs, becoming self-sufficient, supporting their families, becoming economically empowered?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that a really big one is really represented in the stories that we've heard here. And I think tacitly still women are told that we can't do lots of things, and our futures are really controlled by somebody outside of ourselves. And we believe at Prosperity Works that in our asset consortium, it's not about buying stuff, it really is about changing your life. And we think it's social assets, personal assets, and financial assets, that three-legged stool that allow people to do that.
And that's what, like education,
It is.
a home,
Well,
owning?
Yes, it could be all of those things, but it really is, for instance, being able to call the meeting at school and say, no, you're not going to just drop my kid. It really is a sense of personal agency that comes from working through a number of tasks in order to achieve a goal. And in terms of barriers, we have about 25% of our women are in rural New Mexico, and 40% are in deeply rural New Mexico. If they don't become the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, there are no jobs.
A lot of the times women are pushed into being the single parent household, and so they're not just taking care of themselves individually, they're also taking care of their children. And we also know that wealth and income starts much earlier than when you finish college or in your 30s or 40s. It's starting at pre-K, right? It's starting with getting those skills that help you be successful in school. And it's about choices. It's about having the opportunities for those choices, but also feeling like you are supposed to have those choices. And women are told that they're not supposed to have those choices. They're pushed into things like education or childcare, or the important thing is having a family, and then maybe you have education on the side or a career.
So you're saying low pay jobs.
Very low paying job is what people get pushed into. It becomes much easier to maybe go into a job that isn't worthy of your skills and talents, because that job is going to allow you to leave when your child is sick, or not come in until 9 or 9:30. And it's also about promotion. How do you go after the jobs that where you can get promoted and move up the corporate ladder? How do you get to stay in those jobs if you're the first person who's called when the child is sick? And having equal partnership within the family is really a big barrier as well.
Susan, you guys have solved that to some extent because you have daycare right on site. Mm-hmm. And you give people
sick days
time
for
to
their
go
kids.
to their kids' schools.
Our idea is that you have consistent income. Our minimum wage now is $10 an hour, plus, but that's the minimum, right? And so you get this consistent income that you can then use and count on that, okay, well, my kid's in daycare, I'm only paying $0.25 an hour for my daughter to be in daycare. So, and if I'm sick, I can go home and have a sick day. We're working really hard with other businesses and with APS now to take the programs that we're doing and adapt them to places that they don't have to do it all in order to make it work. But how do you create a situation where a parent can go to her child's meeting at school if you punch a clock without being penalized for that? It's a benefit to the employer if a person is on top of their kid and in a good way and not having to just respond to things being bad. So we're working with the Women's Task Force on Economic Security to try to get passed in the legislature that this is something that all businesses can embrace.
What we've been talking about, is it economic development?
I think we're all touching on the theme that a woman who has not only financial literacy, but financial safety is going to invest that money 100% into her community and her family. I teach women in transition how to sew for the interior design industry because there's a living wage in it. If you have very advanced skill set that's in big demand, you are in control of your own destiny. You are in control of your own time and schedule. I encourage my students to take control of their time. So if one of my students is working at Sew Right on
$2,000 worth of drapery and she has to go meet with the teacher at school, she can do that. So for me, it's, again, what can we do to teach women the skills to earn a living wage and become the captains of their own life.
What do we need to do to make sure this all happens, that it's seen as economic development?
Well, I think that one of the things that we need to look at is the whole concept of economic development and job growth. And with most of the people that you're talking about expanding Intel, you're talking about the new solar manufacturer, you're talking about big box operations coming to New Mexico. And I think that that is a strategy, but it has not benefited New Mexicans nearly to the degree that some would like us to think. There is rarely really monitoring of the commitments that those organizations that are receiving our tax dollars for their support, that they're really watching and saying, you made a commitment to educate 400 technical people to assemble X, but you haven't done that.
I'd like to.
So should we focus more in what we've been talking about here?
Well, I think that it needs to be a yes-and strategy. Okay, fine. But what happens if we really peel off 20% of the economic development dollars in New Mexico and invest those in opportunities for women? And the opportunities that, the kinds of things that we're really talking about. What happens when we really look at keeping women who have made this huge commitment to manage their lives by going to C&M? If we can keep them in school to achieve their goal that they've already defined, they're on their way. But we're not looking at those kinds of strategies. We're looking at the big box strategies primarily.
I want you to keep going, but we're going to bring our leadership people in and then we'll continue on the same vein. So keep those thoughts in mind.